right, it's time for everybody's favorite day of the week, leg day, which is, of course, most excellent. But I know a lot of people, they're like, I hate leg day, don't like leg day, and especially when it comes to like bodyweight training. But that's, I think that's a bit of a misnomer. You know, leg day is one of the best days. Leg workouts, especially bodyweight leg workouts, can be freaking awesome. I'm going to show you how in today's video. Starting with the first question that I often get, which is when people say, Matt, when it comes to getting deeper lunges and squats, I got ankle mobility issues, hip mobility issues. What would you do for this sort of thing? That is exactly what I'm doing right here, is to practice these simple deep lunge exercise, just kind of back and forth. You can do this on the floor where your knee is on the ground if you don't want to make it too much of a strength movement. You just kind of pulse in and out, maximizing the range of motion in the hips and in the ankle. Let that knee really track forward. It's okay. It's all right to do that. And practice this every day, because that'll make a big difference in your mobility, strength, and stability, the three aspects of functional proficiency. So you practice it every day, and it's also good for warm-up, which is what I'm doing right here. And the best way to simplify your lunges and squats is to just think of, you got 2 points, right? You got your hips, you got your ankles. Just bring this closer to that. That will dramatically improve the quality of your leg training. If you could just try and get these two closer together, all the other parts just fall into place with that, just closer to the other. All right, ready, warmed up? Let's get started. Oh, it's time to set up the old body weight master, get the legs moving. You ready, Enzo? You ready for leg day? She's ecstatic. So I'm a big believer in using upper body assistance with progressive calisthenics techniques. It's just easier to adjust, easier to modify on the fly, and it really helps you get comfortable with more advanced techniques. So we'll start with some narrow squats, knees close in, and again, just focusing ass to ankles, up and down, focusing on driving my knees together, getting the outside of my hips working, getting everything engaged, using my upper body just a minimal amount, just to kind of give myself some balance and some stability. A few more repetitions, kind of shift around a little bit, making sure I've got some weight in the ankles, squeezing the hips, just getting in touch. Yeah, legs are starting to burn. Next question to address is the idea of dips, of all things. People saying they get their shoulders hunching up and forward when doing dips, causing a lot of shoulder stress and tension, feeling it in the traps. What do you do about this? Well, what I recommend is actually when you're warming up for your dips, practice some dip stand knee raises. And even though it's good for the abs, it's more about bracing and building that stability in the back, because you want your shoulder blades coming down and towards each other, particularly at the bottom, to build the stability. That prevents this. So you're locking down. So before you start doing your dips, you just kind of hold yourself on up, shoulders down and back, and pick up the knees. However, you're trying not to do this, where your hips come back, because again, that's this type of posture. So roll the shoulders down and back, and you're using your abs, but you're more working on stabilizing with your back. That'll build up that shoulder and back stability that you need to get it out of that rounding forward and improve not only the quality of your hanging knee raises, but also your dips as well. All right, next step on the warm-up is I got the bar a little bit lower here, going with my first single leg squats, just kind of coming down under control, all the way down and all the way up, easing into my pistol squat training. With the upper body assistance, you can make it harder by bringing your hands closer in. That removes some of the stability, so now your leg has to work harder for that stability. You can also go with one arm, and of course, no arms. You can also move the bar lower, or the suspension trainer lower. That way you only have assistance through the bottom part in the range of motion. Always make sure that when you're doing these, that your knee is slightly tracking inwards, your hip is kicking slightly outwards, Your legs are together and you don't have too much force on the ball of your foot. One more rep. My next question is coming from Colton Keeler asking, what about dieting for teenagers? And this is an extremely difficult question to answer because these days, like, teenagers range greatly about fitness levels and nutritional needs. Some of us need to eat like a horse, and others need to really kind of scale back and make various adjustments. But so this is why I always recommend start off with the most basic elements of just healthy eating. Get regular meals, make your diet consistent from one day to the next, and focus on your 3 P's. First P is protein, second P is plants, third P is portion. So these are the 3 things you want to pay attention to every time you sit down to a meal. You want to check your plate or your meal or whatever and say, where's my protein source? Doesn't have to be meat or anything. It can be, complementary proteins and stuff if you're vegan or vegetarian. So you need a protein source. Plant-based foods, fruits, vegetables, nuts, even tea at breakfast can count. And be mindful of your portions. Are you eating enough to sustain your activity levels so you're not hungry all the time and you're satisfying your hunger? But at the same time, you're not eating too much, so you're overeating yourself and, of course, gaining body fat that you don't necessarily want to have. Get those 3 things taken care of first, then worry about the details like macronutrient ratios and supplements and all that sort of stuff. That stuff doesn't matter nearly as much until you get those basic things taken care of first. All right, ramping up to the doorway assisted pistol squat. Using the Bodyweight Master here, or doorways or whatever. This is my current go-to leg training device because very easy to adjust. One of the best ways you can progress your single leg squats is your hand position relative to your body. If you're squatting and your hands are out here, this is going to be way easier. The more you move your hands backwards, the more resistance goes right onto your working leg. So when you're here on the doorway, if you move here so your hands are like right on the side, this is going to be a hell of a lot harder than if you're backing up and you're more front here. So you can adjust in very small amounts. Plus, your hands are higher, you can kind of pull yourself up. Hands are lower, it's a lot harder. And of course, you can also adjust, are you hanging on or are you just lightly touching up and down like so? So there's lots of ways you can take your pistol squat from crazy easy to ridiculously hard. And I'm trying my best not to do this. Moving forward, again, makes it easier. So here with grind style calisthenics, we do things the hard way. So we don't need a lot of external weight. Yeah, I know, my breathing sucks right now. I should probably talk less, lift more. Next question is asking about doing cardio after calisthenics training, particularly in this question, swimming. But it's a very good question because when we're looking at mixing in cardiovascular activity, first and foremost, know that whenever you're doing 2 different activities back to back, the second one will be compromised by the energy that you put into the first. So it's all about priorities. Whatever is the biggest priority for you, do that first and then second. But this is also why I'm a big fan of doing your cardio on a separate day if it's going to take a lot of time and energy. And the reason is just so you can put more effort into each one. So strength training, focus on strength training day. Then the next day you can go for a long bike ride and stuff. That's what I used to do back in my bike racing days. And that way you can put as much effort into each activity as possible. But if you're doing just some light cardio afterwards to kind of calm down or get the blood flowing throughout the whole body, that's perfectly fine. I'm talking about cardio as it pertains to really hard physical training. Do it on separate days. All right, set 2. Here we go now with kitty cat assistance. Move myself a little more forward. Sets of 6 will take care of it. What was that 5? It's never very good at counting. Last question of the day. Any tips for wrist pain? Well, first and foremost, this is a very smart question to be asking, because a lot of people, when it comes to any sort of joint pain, will use either like push-up handles or they'll avoid certain exercises as a way to get around what's causing the issue. But the problem is that doesn't fix anything. It just leaves the problem and ignores it, sweeps it under the rug. Addressing it first and foremost is the best way to go. So first off, make sure you just don't have any sort of injury to the wrist. If you had an impact or something, get it checked out by a doctor or physical therapist to make sure there's nothing problematic going on like osteoarthritis. Second is practice strengthening your lower arm and the mobilization of your wrist and arm every single day with the following exercises. The first one is like in a cat-cow position, and you're rotating the arms in. A lot of wrist pain comes from too much rotation in the arms that's basically torquing the wrist, similar to what we use in like martial arts movements to cause pain in the wrist. So getting the arms to torque inwards during things like push-ups and pull-ups can do a lot to relieve any stress on the wrist. Second of all is practice moving forward and back and side to side with the fingers pointing forwards for the forward and back and the fingers pointing sideways for the side to side to practice building up that mobility. While you're doing these exercises, try to keep your hand and all of the muscles in your lower arm somewhat tense. They don't need to be tense, but they should have some tension, because remember, joint pain usually means that there is stress in the joint when it should be in a muscle. So keeping your extensors turned on, just practicing extending your fingers upwards, flexing like this a little bit to get those muscles to wake up can go a long way at bringing the stress around the wrist rather than into it. All right, final set. Just kind of sit and get ready. Really hard not to bounce out of a pistol squat or squats in general. And that's a habit I've been working on for quite a while. I even see it in some of my videos. I swear, it's like I feel like I don't have any bounce, and then I see myself on the video and I'm like, damn, I've got bounce. It's one of the reasons why it's very good to film yourself doing your exercises, because how you think you move and how you really move are quite different often. Ooh. So what are some of your best leg day training tips? We'd love to hear from you down below in the comment section in the RDP community. If you have any questions for further videos, leave those down below as well. Till then, be fit, live free.